During this evening session, all you'll need is some space to move around, a yoga mat, and a bottle of water. If you have blocks that you typically use in your yoga practice, feel free to have them readily available as well. And now, today's featured alumna is a triple Falcon, Lisa Marie Rankin, class of 97, MBA 04, and a Master's in Human Factors and Design 05. She is a writer and a yoga and meditation teacher, and HarperCollins will publish her first book in 2021. So without further ado, please join me in virtually welcoming Lisa Marie Rankin.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Bentley family. And thank you for coming out tonight to take the time to practice with me. So I'm really excited to be here with you online. It would be great to be in person, but this is good as well, too. So tonight we're going to do a 60-minute Vinyasa Flow. So that's where one movement moves into the next, and we're going to be matching breath to movement. And we'll also do a loving kindness meditation at the end, where we'll just be extending love and compassion to ourselves, to those around us, and to the whole planet, which is something I think that we all agree that we all really need right now. But to get started, you can take a comfortable seat on your mat, and we're just going to get started just by settling in. So however is comfortable for you. Now we're going to get started with a mudra tonight. So we're going to take Bu Mudra, and basically that's just your peace fingers right here. And a mudra is an energy lock. So what it does, it helps you to cultivate and capture an energy. So with arms outstretched, you can place your two fingers on the earth. And what this mudra does is it helps us feel a connection between our physical body and the earth. It also gives us a sense of grounding and stability, and it lowers anxiety. So it just gives us a chance to feel grounded and just peaceful. So you can close your eyes here, so with your arms outstretched, fingers touching the mat. We're just going to take a few moments to arrive. And you can start to notice your breath. You can start to observe the inhale, and then the inhale turns into an exhale. And throughout this practice, I'll remind you to remember to breathe, to focus on the breathing. As we come together, really start integrating body, mind, and spirit. So for the next 60 minutes, I really encourage you to put anything aside that you may have previously been thinking about, or anything you may have to do after class, and really just take the time just to be with body and breath. And you can release your mudra. You can bring your hands to heart center here. And maybe call to mind somebody in your life that could use a little extra love or a little extra compassion. Maybe they're currently struggling in some way with the virus, whether they're sick themselves or whether they may be feeling a bit of isolation due to the social distancing. And then you can take a moment, you can dedicate the merits of your practice. So anything good that comes out of the next 60 minutes of practice, and we'll give it directly to that person. And you can open your eyes, inhale, hands come high, and exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll do that again one more time. Inhale, hands come high, and exhale, hands come to heart center. You can take your right hand and place it across your left knee. We'll take a seated side twist. So keeping the spine long, chin away from the chest. And then we'll come to the other side. And coming back to center. You can place your hands on the earth, and we're going to make our way into tabletop. So in tabletop, shoulders are over wrist, hips are over knees, and gaze is straight down. So we always want to try to keep the neck in line with the spine so you don't drop your head or look up, but just gaze straight down. And then on an inhale, you'll drop the belly, look up, and that's your cow pose. And then on an exhale, arch the spine and drop the head, and that's your cat. So inhale, drop the belly, look up. And exhale, arch the spine and drop the head. You can take some more now at your own pace, just matching breath to movement. Maybe close your eyes here. And as you start to tune back into the body, notice if there's any other shapes or movements that might be calling to you right now, and feel free to take those. Sometimes I like to bring my wrists out to the side, the fingertips, or sometimes the fingertips pointing behind and taking some just wrist rotations. It can feel nice to stretch out the forearms. And then we'll meet back into a neutral tabletop. Then with hands pressing into the earth, you can extend the right leg back so it's parallel to the earth. Hips are squared. You can extend the left arm forward. Breathing here. You take an inhale, exhale, knee and hand can come back to the earth. Left leg will extend back. Right hand extends forward. Taking an inhale here, exhale, hand and knee come back to the earth. So we're going to do that with a little bit more speed now. So just alternating arms and legs. So right leg, left arm go up, and then they come back down. Left leg, right arm, rise, and then we come back down. We'll do one more on each side. Right leg, left arm, rise, and they come back down. Left leg, right arm, rise, and then we come back down. And then you keep your hips over your knees, and we're going to take some big steps forward with our hands, coming into our puppy pose. So chin or forehead can come to the earth. So it's sort of like a cross between a downward facing dog and a child's pose. And maybe you even imagine the chest trying to connect to the earth. It doesn't mean it will necessarily get there, but that's sort of what you can imagine. And breathe. And keeping the forearms pressed into the earth, you can shimmy your body back, and we're going to come into Sphinx. So Sphinx, it almost looks like a little kid watching TV on the living room floor, but it's actually more active. So forearms can press into the earth, and chest is coming through the shoulders, gaze straight ahead. So it's a back bend. And breathing here. And then you can release all the way down to the mat. Then goal post your arms so they're wide, even off the edges of your mat, and you can even tense your fingers. You can press the shoelace side of your feet into the earth, and on an inhale, we're going to come up into a wide cobra. Drop the right shoulder, looking over the left, and then coming back up. Dropping the left, looking over the right. Coming back up. Dropping the right, looking over the left. Coming back up. And dropping the left, looking over the right. Coming back up. You can take an inhale here. Exhale, coming back down to the earth. Hands come underneath shoulders. And you can push yourself back up through tabletop. Open the knees wide and sit back into child's pose. Palms of the hands can come together in prayer hands. And then you can bend your elbows. Just hands can come to nape of neck. And you can just take a moment settling into your child's pose. And just remember that this posture is there for you throughout our practice. So even if I never call it, you can come into it on your own. So really, so much of this practice is just getting in touch with your body and choosing postures and shapes that will serve where you're at tonight. Hands can come back to earth. Make your way back into tabletop. Curl the toes under. And push right back into your first downward facing dog. So first downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet here. Hands are pressed firmly into the earth. And you can really open those fingertips up wide. We'll take a moment to glide forward to your high plank. And in your high plank, your core is engaged, gaze is straight down, and shoulders are over wrist. You can take an inhale here, and then exhale back to your downward facing dog. And that's going to be about the width of your downward facing dog. So you shouldn't have to adjust too much. Then you can go high on your tiptoes, bend the knees to lengthen out the spine, and then straighten the legs. And go high on your tiptoes, bending the knees. You can look at your hands and we'll walk to the front of your mat and meet in Ragdoll forward fold. So feet are about hips width apart. You can grab opposite hand to opposite elbow. Bend your knees here, almost creating a little bit of a shelf for your belly. And then you can just let your head hang. So sometimes we always want to keep our head up a little bit. Don't do that. Just let it hang, let gravity do the work. And I would encourage you throughout the practice, sometimes we try to muscle into postures. Try to see with how much ease you can take these different shapes. So trying to add just a lighter approach, letting go of any control, and just see if you can lighten it up. And with your feet rooted into the earth, you can sway a little bit back and forth. And then hands can come to the earth. You can toe heel your feet together. Bend the knees to lengthen the spine. So hands can come on chin, shoulder blades go back, creating a flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. And we'll do that again. You can bend the knees to lengthen the spine, shoulder blades go back. And then hands can come to hips. And you can just straighten your legs. We come right up to standing. Inhale, hands come high. You have your prayer hands at the top. The feet rooted into the earth. You can take a look up at your hands for a little mini back bend. And then you can take the goddess arms, opening up the heart space. And then hands can come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. And then exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine, bringing those shoulder blades back. And then you can plant the hands. And we'll step the left foot back. You can drop the back knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky, so you're in your low lunge on the right. You're breathing here. And then the left hand can connect to the earth and we'll take a twist to the right. the earth. You'll straighten out that front leg as we come into our half split. So if you have some blocks here and you want to bring the earth a little bit closer to you, you can do that. We'll inhale to lengthen the spine and then just exhale, just a gentle hinge forward. It doesn't have to be too deep, just a light stretch on the hamstrings. And you can walk the hands forward, curling the back toes under as the hands frame your front foot. Right leg will kick back. Three-legged dog on the right. So you can feel that line of energy almost all the way from the palms of your hands to your right heel. You can bend your right knee, opening up your right hip. Taking some ankle rotations in one direction, and then again in the other. And hips can square back to the earth. You can gently lower your right foot so it meets the left, and you're back in your downward facing dog. On an inhale, you can glide forward to your high plank. We'll push forward on our toes so shoulders are over wrist and come all the way down to our mat via a low push-up. Inhale, hands press into the earth, coming into cobra. And then exhale, coming back down. Inhale, pushing up through tabletop. And curl the toes under, coming right back. Downward facing dog. We'll take 3 breaths here. And inhale, you can go high in your tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees. Walk to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. We'll do that again. Bend the knees to lengthen the spine. Hands can come to hips. Straighten the legs, brings you right up to standing. Inhale, hands come high. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, we'll bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. Hands can come to shins, bringing the shoulder blades back. Then you can plant your hands. This time, right leg will step back. You can drop the right knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky, low lunge on your left. Breathing here. Right hand can connect with the earth, twist to the left. And then left hand can come back to the earth. You can straighten out that front leg for your half split. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to hinge forward. And walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under, left leg sweeps back for 3-legged dog now on your left. So we start here with the hips squared to the earth, palms pressing firmly in. Your foot can be flexed. And then you can bend the knee, opening up the left hip. And taking some ankle rotations in one direction, and then again in the other. And squaring the hips back to the earth again, and then gently bringing the left foot down to meet the right, downward facing dog. Inhale, you can glide forward to your high plank. And toes can push you forward. We'll come all the way back down to our mat. Low push-up. Inhale, coming up into cobra. Exhale, coming back down. You can curl your toes under. Now you can either push up through high push-up or tabletop, but we'll meet right back in downward facing dog. Inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees. You can walk to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. And then exhale, forward fold. Root down to rise up to standing. On your inhale, hands come high, extended Tadasana. And then on an exhale, you'll drop your hips, coming into your Utkatasana, your chair pose. So here, your feet can either come together or they can be hips width apart. So whatever gives you more sense of stability and groundedness. I'm going to take an inhale here and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. And then exhale, you can plant your hands, stepping back to your high plank. Breathing here. We're going to come down to our forearms to Dolphin Plank. Maybe you lead with the right forearm, so hips are still engaged. You can always drop your knees too. So remember, make this your practice. And then we'll all drop the knees, drop the belly, and coming into Sphinx. Shoulders, chest coming through shoulders, gaze straight ahead. And you can curl the toes under, lifting the hips up back to your Dolphin Plank. And then right hand to left hand to high plank. Taking an inhale here, exhale, downward facing dog. And then inhale, you'll go high in your tiptoes. Exhale, you'll bend your knees, walking to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. And then exhale, forward fold. Root down to rise up to standing. On an inhale, hands come high. Exhale, drop the hips. We're back in our Utkatasana. Then you can take a look down, make sure you can see your toes. And if you can't see your toes, that just means you need to sit back a little bit more. One more inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your high plank. And this time we're going to come back down to our Dolphin Plank, but maybe you lead the left arm this time. So left forearm, and then right. Hips are still lifted. And you can drop the knees, drop the belly, and coming into Sphinx. Curl the toes under, lift the hips back into Dolphin. And then left hand, then right hand back into your high plank. And back into your downward facing dog. So we'll take 3 breaths here. So you can either stay in your downward facing dog, or if you want to come into child's pose, we've got time for a quick child's pose as well too. So again, listening to your body and choosing a posture that will serve you best. And we'll all meet back up in downward facing. Then you'll bring your right leg high and step the right foot forward. Dial the back foot back so it's flat on the earth, and we'll rise up to standing into our warrior one. So in warrior one, both feet are flat on the earth, hips are facing forward, hands come high to the sky. And you're really putting a lot of energy into that back foot because that's what's squaring your hips forward. So if it takes a moment to set up, that's okay. And breathing here. You can take your hands behind your lower back, interlace them. Inhale, look up for a little mini back bend. And then exhale, we're going to fold forward for our humble warrior. This is an awkward pose, so you might feel a little wobbly. That's okay. And then with the feet pressing into the earth, you can rise back up to standing. Hands come high. And then hands can come to heart center as you open up for your warrior two. So in warrior two, both feet are flat on the earth. There's some heel to instep alignment. Arms are parallel. And your right knee is actually almost tracking to your pinky or second toe. So not collapsing inward, but grounded and opening. And the gaze is right at that middle finger, and that's your drishti. In yoga, it's always important to have a drishti where you can kind of focus your eyes. So when our eyes are darting around, sometimes that means our mind is darting around too. So it also helps just to cultivate a sense of calm. We'll straighten the leg, bring the hands high on an inhale for our gentle warrior. And then on an exhale, we'll bring it back down. Inhale, we come high. And exhale, coming back down. One more time. Inhale, hands come high. And then exhale, we come right back down. Now we're going to keep those warrior two legs. And on an inhale, we'll reverse our warrior. And then on an exhale, coming into our side angle. So right forearm can come to right thigh, but it's just tapping on it, not collapsing. That top hand can be right above our head. You can reach forward, maybe to the front of your mat. Or if you have a half or full bind in your practice, you can take that here too. As the feet root into the earth, you can almost think the right side of your chest is also trying to corkscrew to the sky. And you could look at the wall, or if it feels okay on your neck, you can try to gaze up to the ceiling. The feet rooting into the earth, we can come back to our warrior two. And you can reverse your warrior. Then you can straighten out that front leg, and we're going to set up for Trikonasana. So that is our triangle pose. So I like to shorten my stance a little bit. And that back foot doesn't have to be perfectly parallel with the back of the mat, but the toes can start pointing up a little bit. Arms are parallel. And try to touch the front of your mat, the front of the room. Then when you can't go anymore, then you can just drop that right hand to a shin or a block as we come into triangle. And again, you can gaze either at the wall, or you can, if it feels okay to your neck, you can look up at your hand. And you remember to breathe. Core strength can bring you right back up. Now we'll pivot to the left. Toes come out to 10 and 2. We'll drop into our goddess. So knees are over ankles here, shoulders stacked over hips. And really again, feeling the earth supporting you, feeling that stability, and feeling how strong you are in that pose. So that's really what I love about yoga, is we cultivate softness where we can flow. We also cultivate strength as well too. In everything that we practice on the mat, we can also take with us off the mat. And we'll pivot back to the front of the mat, coming back into our warrior two. Reverse your warrior. And then hands can windmill back down to the earth. And you can step back to your high plank. We'll hold in high plank for just a moment. I'm breathing here. One more inhale. And then an exhale back to downward facing dog. And then left leg will come high. Left foot's going to step forward. Dial the back foot back. We're going to come into warrior one now on the left. Again, you can take a few moments to set up here in your warrior one. Both feet are flat on the earth, hips are squared forward. And if you find that it's hard to get your hips squared forward in warrior one, you can widen your stance a little bit more. So it's more like train tracks than a tightrope. You can interlace your hands behind your lower back. Opening up the chest, inhale, look up for a little back bend. And then exhale, we'll fold forward for a humble warrior. Feet rooting into the earth brings us right back up to standing. Hands come high, warrior one. And bring our hands to heart center. We'll open up warrior two. Now you guys stay where you are. I'm just training my position so you're not looking at the back of me. But we're on warrior two on our left. Again, we have that heel to instep alignment, shoulders stacked over hips. And gaze is right at that middle finger. On an inhale, you can straighten your leg, bring the hands high, gentle warrior. And then exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, we rise. And exhale, we come back down. One more time. Inhale, we rise. And exhale, we come right back down. Keeping those warrior two legs. On an inhale, we'll reverse our warrior. And then on an exhale, left forearm to left thigh. We'll come back into our side angle. Again, you can think about what you want to do with that top hand. Whatever variation you took on the other side, you can take that here as well too. Remember, your feet are rooted and you're grounded but opening. And remember to breathe. So sometimes when postures get challenging, we almost hold our breath. Just like in life, when things get challenging, we can hold our breath. And that's exactly when we should be breathing. You can rise back up to our warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Straighten that front leg. And we'll set up for Trikonasana now on the left. So again, you can shorten your stance. I always find that that's a little bit more accessible. And try to touch the front of your mat, and then the left hand connects to the shin or a block. Core strength will bring you right back up. You'll pivot to the right. This time you'll have your toes pointing slightly inward, so slightly pigeon-toed. You can have your hands on your hips. On an inhale, we'll look up, so opening up that heart space. And then on an exhale, we're going to start to fold forward, but we're going to come into this forward fold slowly. So really bend your knees quite a bit here, and hands can come underneath shoulders. So you really just have that flat back, just like we do in our sun salutations, where your sacrum is trying to get to one side, crown of the head to the other. So really lengthening here. And then if that feels okay, then you can start to straighten the legs, hinging at the hips, coming into your forward fold. And you can either hold on to your ankles or maybe walk your hands through. And just breathing here, just letting the head hang heavy. And anytime I'm in inversions like this, I always like to think all of my troubles just pouring from my head. And hands can come underneath shoulders again. You can bend the knees. Hands can come to hips with that flat back. Straighten the legs and we come back up to standing. We're going to flip the toes back out to 10 and 2 and come back into our goddess. And shoulders stacked over hips. Maybe even close your eyes here in goddess. And you can start swaying a little bit from side to side. Maybe as you sway, you get a little bit lower each time. And so then find some stillness. And then you can straighten your legs. And you can just walk to the front of your mat. Maybe shaking the legs out a little bit. So we're just going to take a couple of balance postures before we get onto the earth. So to start, let's come into like just an easy Utkatasana. So you can just bend the knees, but maybe not as far as you would normally take your chair pose. And right leg is going to go over. So we're going to come into eagle. So you can start with the right leg over and you could just kickstand the toes or you could wrap. And then right arm comes underneath. And if it's too hard to get your arms to cross, you can also just do opposite hand to opposite shoulder. So again, just choosing postures and shapes that work with you. And breathing here. You can try to keep the elbows in line with the shoulders, forearms pressing forward. And then you're gonna unwrap your arms, come back to standing. Hands can come to heart center. So we'll take one more eagle. So we'll come back into that easy Utkatasana, just the knees are bent a little. This time left leg will wrap over, left arm wraps under. And again, remember, customize this practice. And you breathe. You find your drishti. Unwrap your eagle and coming back to your Samastehi, hands at heart center. Placing the weight into the right foot, we'll come into tree. You have a couple of options in tree. You can kickstand, come to the calf, or come to the inner thigh. So whatever works for you, but just not the knee. We don't want to hurt the knee. You can either keep your hands at heart center, or you can grow your tree. Bringing your hands back to heart center if they're not already there. And then you can release your left foot back down to the earth. Maybe shake it out a little bit. And then planting the weight into the left foot, we'll take tree on the other side. And remember, it can come anywhere on your leg except for the knee. And keep the hands at heart center or grow your tree. And bring hands back to heart center. And then you can release your tree and shaking it out a little bit. Inhale, hands come high. And exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. Then you can plant the hands, step back to your high plank. So I think this is going to be your last high plank of the class. So engaging the core, all of the muscles right here. Breathing. And then you can drop the knees to the earth. And you're back into your tabletop. So we're going to set up for thread the needles. That's just a nice shoulder stretch as we start to cool down now. So you can place the weight into your left hand. Right arm will come high. And then you'll thread the needle. So right arm comes underneath the left shoulder. You can rest the right side of your face onto the earth. And the left hand can either come to the upper left corner of your mat, or it can wrap behind you. Just seeing what feels better. And you should feel a nice stretch along the right shoulder. And then left hand can come back towards your face. It can push you back up. Right hand comes high. And then right hand comes back to the earth. And this time we'll place the weight into the right hand. Left hand comes high. And then we'll thread the needle on the left. And that right hand can come to the upper right corner, or it can wrap behind. Right hand can come back towards your face, pushing yourself back up. Left hand comes high, and then left hand comes back to the earth, and you're back into your tabletop. And you can cross your ankles or however you want to get there, but we're going to come back down onto our back. So rolling onto our bum, coming back onto our back. So you can have the soles of the feet on the earth, about hips width apart. You can even graze your heels here just to make sure that they're not too far away. So we're going to take two bridge poses here. So if you have a block and you want to just place it right underneath your sacrum, coming into a supportive bridge, that might be really nice. But if not, we can just come into some regular bridges. To start, we're going to have these Lego-like arms, and you can press your triceps or the backs of the arms into the earth. And then we'll just lift the hips. And then lower the hips back down to the earth. And taking a moment to reset. So we're just going to do one more bridge. So you can either stay and supported if that's where you are. You can stay with the triceps pressing into the earth, or if you want, you can interlace the hands behind the lower back, shimmying the shoulders underneath the shoulder blades, and it becomes a bit of a chest opener as well. And then you can release your hips back down to the earth. You can bring your feet wide to the edges of the mat, and maybe knees come in for knock knee pose. And this is just a nice posture for some of the back bending that we've been doing to help to stabilize. And then soles of the feet can come together, knees come wide for Supta Padasana. You can have one hand on the belly here, one hand on the heart. Or maybe you just close your eyes here. And just start to come back into the body. seems that as many of us have been social distancing now for the past couple of weeks, that it seems like the planet might be rebalancing, and this gives us the opportunity to, it's kind of a forced pause, but it gives us the opportunity to recalibrate as well too. So often we're so busy jumping from one activity to the next, we don't always have time to think and to consider whether we're living with intention. So now, whether we're avoiding commutes or we're going to the grocery stores less, we do have some time to think. Like if our relationships are fulfilling, if they're fueling our growth, whether we're in a job that inspires us, and whether how we're giving back to society, whether we're giving back in a meaningful way. So it does give us a chance to pause, to reflect, and see where in our life needs to rebalance. And then you can give your knees a hug in. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. You can extend your legs straight up to the sky. And again, if you have a block and you want to place it right underneath your sacrum, that can feel really nice. Or even just resting your hands underneath your hips can feel good. We'll give your knees a hug in. We're going to set up for reclining, figure 4. So you can take your right ankle and placing it in front of your left knee. You can either grab behind your left thigh, maybe pressing your right knee away from you with your forearm for a stretch. Or if you want, you can just take that left foot and keep it on the earth. And just getting a sense for what would feel best for you today. And you can switch sides. Left ankle can come in front of the right knee. And then you can hug both knees in, and let's take happy baby. So you can grab the inside edges of your feet, maybe grab behind the thighs. We'll rock a little bit back and forth. Maybe even one leg extends while the other one bends, just like a baby does in the crib. You can hug both knees in. You can keep the right knee hugged in while the left leg goes long on the earth. With your left hand, you'll gently guide your right knee across the left side of your body. Your right arm can come out like an anchor as you gaze to the right. And then coming back through center, you can hug both knees in. This time we'll hold the left knee as the right leg goes long. We'll gently guide that left knee across the right side. We gaze to the left. And then coming back to center, have both knees in. Maybe just taking a moment right now, just expressing gratitude to yourself for taking the time tonight. 60 minutes to reintegrate body, mind, and spirit. As you start to extend long onto the earth, so legs come long, you can take up some space here as well too. As you start to prepare for Shavasana, you guys can stay lying on the earth. I am going to sit up because I'm going to walk you through a loving kindness meditation. But again, you can stay lying down unless you prefer to sit for your meditation. Either way is fine. So when we think about meditation, we often think of a mindfulness meditation. So maybe that's awareness of breath. And that's great. That helps us really observe our thoughts so we don't fuse with our thoughts or identify them. But loving kindness is also important. So that's a meditation where we can cultivate kindness, compassion, and love, not only for ourselves and for our families, but really for the entire world. And they're both essential, so to have the mindfulness practice and then also to have a compassion practice. So today, we're going to work on compassion. So you can either have your palms facing the sky, or maybe you can even bring your hands to your heart. And you can just take a moment to settle in. And bring to mind someone for whom it's easy for you to love. So somebody whom you have a very uncomplicated relationship with. It could be a child or a parent, partner, or pet, but just someone who's easy. And whoever came to mind, that's the person you should go for. And you can picture that person in your mind's eye and picture them very, very happy. Maybe they're doing something that they really love to do. And you do, you want them to be happy. I'm going to send blessings to this person, so you can just think silently to yourself, or if you want to say it out loud, you can do that. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. And you really do want that person to be happy, healthy, and to have a life full of ease. So if you could clear all the roadblocks for them, then you would. Just see how that feels, how that shows up in your body. I'm going to extend those same blessings out now to a more neutral person. So it's someone that you don't really feel positive or negative feelings towards. They're just somebody neutral. Maybe they're somebody that you see at the grocer or on your commute. But picture that person. You can even try to picture that person happy. And we're going to send out those same blessings with the same intent and feeling to this person. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. And again, really wanting this person to have a good life and to be happy. send out this blessing to the entire planet. And if there was ever a time that the entire planet really needed this blessing, I would say it was now. We are all in this situation together with the same fears, the same anxieties. So everybody out there, and including the animals as well too, so all sentient beings, and include yourself in this blessing. So however you want to visualize it. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. I'm just imagining the harmony that we would be in if all could be happy and healthy and have a life of ease. I'm just taking some moments now. Maybe continue to extend those blessings. And if there's anybody else that comes to your mind that you want to extend those blessings to, you can do that now as well. We're going to come into our final resting. Shavasana. Maybe starting to bring a little bit of consciousness back. You can wiggle your toes or your fingers. You can start to roll over to your right or left side, whatever's more comfortable. We'll just spend a few moments in the fetal position. And you can start to push yourself up to a comfortable seat. We'll meet with our hands at heart center. You can either keep your eyes closed, you can gaze softly at your fingertips. We can bring our thumb knuckles to our lips and to our third eye. So wishing you happiness, health, and a life full of ease. Everything that is good and light in me